Hey guys, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. Trying to get in another quick video before live streaming Liturgy of the Hours. This morning, I am also still working on my breakfast, so apologies. If anyone is curious, oats overnight. I think this was a special edition one. I don't think you can get it all year round. Mexican hot chocolate. Gluten-free, dairy-free for people for whom that's important. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. I was meaning to make quite a bit more in bunny under our feeder. Sorry, my mom just sent me a message, and I can't go and check with the video recording, but she just sent me a message on Messenger saying we have a bunny underneath our feeder. Not that I'd probably be able to see it through the bird camera anyway, but sorry, bunnies. What was I talking about? Oh, yes. I intended to make more videos on this topic, not about bunnies under our feeder, but on the Readathon that is coming up next quarter. So for October, September, wait. Oh, I guess it's not yet. Duh, no, it's October, November, December. I don't know why I threw September in there. October, November, December. We're in September. Right. I'm going to claim like messed up sleep schedule because my sleep schedule's all over the place right now. And I'm still having breakfast. So that two excuses for the price of one. Anyway. So, sorry, I'm just grabbing a napkin. I have a feeling I'm just going to be, even if there's not anything on my face, I'm going to just constantly be doing that. But I'm doing a readathon with Mom next quarter for the Detection Club, calling it Cozy with the Detection Club. And I meant to make quite a bit in the way of videos for it this month, but man, I don't know. Time kind of got away from me, or I got distracted by other videos, or I don't know what was going on with me this month. But so I wanted to kind of refresh everybody on what this is to begin with. If you remember, or may not remember, if this is your first video with me, that that mysteries were really what brought me in to sorry, I have a new stamp that was unpacking from House Mouse Designs. I love their designs. Anyway, I came into the booktube space via the mystery area. I think my first along I was involved with, as in like I didn't host it with co-host or anything. I just read along with it. But I think it was the March Mystery Mayhem and then the Christie's Missing. And I've religiously done something for both of those every year. And Christie's Missing, I am always honed in on whenever that occurs, as anyone who's watched my channel in early December knows. And this will be running at the same time as Christie's Missing. And because Agatha Christie is one of the founding members of the Detection Club, it falls into my Cozy with the Detection Club readathon. So, and I did that on purpose for people who would be taking part with Christie's Missing. So the idea is to read as much of the Detection Club books as you can. There won't be like any strong set rules, just sort of like guidelines that people can sort of mark off if they really want to. Mostly because I wanted to play with the Decalogue, which is, if you don't know, the Decalogue was Father Ronald Knox, another founding members, 10 commandments of writing mysteries during the golden age of mysteries. So the Decalogue, first of all, for people who aren't familiar with it, let's see. I need to scroll down. Father Knox's Decalogue. The criminal must be someone mentioned in the early part of the story, but must not be anyone whose thoughts the readers have been allowed to follow. Well, if you are familiar with Agatha Christie's work, she has broken that rule at least once, and one of her most famous mysteries. But that is all I'm going to say about that, in case you haven't read that mystery yet. 2, all supernatural, that should say or. I have the document pulled up here, which is what I keep looking over at. All supernatural or preternatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course. Not more than one secret room or passage is allowable. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody broke that one. Especially some of the ones who are more locked room oriented. I can't think of a specific story off the top of my head though, because the one I was going to say only had one secret passage as far, or secret room. 4, no hitherto undiscovered poisons shall be used, nor any appliance which need a long scientific explanation at the end. 5, no Chinaman must figure in the story. And in parentheses, Knox's way of poking fun at thriller writers whose reliance on sinister oriental villains had already become a cliche. I'm wondering if like Fu Manchu was part of that reason. I think I have a book that talks, or I saw a book that talks about that particular character. Anyway, 6, no accident must ever help the detective, nor must he ever have unaccountable intuition which proves to be right. Mrs. Oliver doesn't count because she's not usually right if she's constantly changing her mind. Oopsie. That fell. 7, the detective must not himself commit the crime. And I'm certain that has been broken at some point or another. The one mystery I was going to say, if Christie's that broke it, actually doesn't, because if you know, you know. Okay, 8. The detective must not light on any clues that are not immediately produced for the inspection of the reader. 9. The stupid friend, the Watson, that's cruel to Watson, must not conceal any thoughts which pass through his mind. So like if that is your narrator character, like Hastings, everything that goes through his mind, the reader sees. Hastings is actually quite stupid. 10. Twin brothers and doubles generally must not appear unless we have been duly prepared for them. Now, one of Christie's stories plays with this interestingly. I think that that there isn't actually a twin brother involved, but she handles that interestingly in one of her stories, which I don't want to give the title because, again, if you haven't read that work, I don't want to ruin it for you. So those are the 10 commandments of the Detection Club. So the reason why I read those off is because the challenge, the recommended challenge, but not like it's not any hard or fast. You have to hit all these. It's kind of like guidelines again. Some of the things that you can do for our like I said, for our long are going to be based off of the Decalogue, kind of like making fun of it a little bit. So first of all, number 1 of our 10 recommended challenges. 1, author breaks one of the rules of Father Knox's Decalogue. So the particular Agatha Christie book that I'm thinking of would count. 2, story is narrated by a Watson-like character. So you will probably have a book fit multiple of these options, by the way. 3, story is a locked room mystery. So you could have a locked room mystery narrated by a Watson-like character. I'm I'm trying, I think the Red House mystery, I believe, I want to say that what's his name, the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh, I lost his name in my brain. Anyway, his mystery, I want to say, is a locked room that is narrated by a Watson character. And you also have, of course, multiple Agatha Christie's that are that way. 4, a nonfiction book about the Detection Club or its members. So I have a biography of Father Knox over here by Evelyn Waugh. Story has an on-screen adaptation. Multiple ones for Agatha Christie are like that. I believe that there are several of other Detection Club mysteries that are like that. Okay, 8, read a non-mystery fictional work by a Detection Club member. So Christie, she wrote under another name. For example, she wrote under the name Mary Westmacott, and she wrote several fictional works that way. I didn't like them quite as much, but they are out there. Read a Detection Club collab book. Let's see. I just realized that I'm going to take it a non-mystery, not fictional work, but just a non-mystery work by a Detection Club member, because I just realized I don't have one for non-fiction, because we need to have fiction or non-fiction available, because we actually have a historian who is a member of the Detection Club. You have, hold on, let me scroll down, because I have multiple ones for books. Where is she? Oh, actually, I just finished one. No, I didn't. I had to glance over my list. Antonia Fraser. So people with the Readathon would be familiar with Antonia Fraser's name. She was a member of the Detection Club. She came in later. She was in the 1980 to 1989 class of people coming in. I can't remember the exact year she came in. So if you are an Antonia Fraser fan, you'll be able to read one of her works as well. Then, did I skip read a short story by a Detection Club member? I think I did. That was number 7. Oh, I see. I see what I did wrong. I skipped some numbers. Hold on. So I'm going to start with the rules again. I'm going to have to edit this because I just realized that I got distracted and missed quite a few of the numbers. So the recommended challenges within the Readathon, there are 10 of them to mimic Father Ronald Knox's Decalogue. So number 1, the author breaks one of the rules of Father Knox's Decalogue, and I read that to you a couple moments ago. Number 2, story is narrated by a Watson-like character. Now you could choose a book that falls into any number of these rules for our Readathon. Honestly, it's to kind of give you an idea of what options are out there more than anything else, because it'll help you think outside the box instead of just being like, oh, mysteries by these people. Well, here's some other things that can kind of still count. Locked room mystery, very common within the genre. And you can have ones that, like I said, books that fall into multiple categories. Then 4, read a nonfiction book about the Detection Club or its members. So I have books on Agatha Christie's writing. I also have books on, like I have a biography over here of Father Ronald Knox that was written by Evelyn Waugh. Then 5, story has an on-screen adaptation. So for example, And Then There Were None has at least one, if not more, on-screen adaptations. Doesn't mean that they're the most accurate. I know that also, actually multiple Agatha Christie's. That's all I'll just say. Multiple Agatha Christie's, plus the series for Poirot and Miss Marple. I'm sure that there are other Detection Club members that have had their books made into movies or TV shows. Number 6. The story was a play adapted into a novel, or is a novel adapted into a play. So I know for a fact Christie has several of these like that. My favorite of her plays that were adapted into novel, and Charles Osborne, I believe, is the one who usually adapts her plays into novels. So he's adapted Black Coffee. He has adapted The Unexpected Guest, and he has adapted Spider's Web. Spider's Web is my favorite of the ones that he's adapted. I haven't yet read Black Coffee. But that's, and as for, I don't think I have one that's just a play, because she does have one play that hasn't been adapted over, and I haven't been able to find it yet, and that is Akhenaten. Anyway, 7, read a short story by a Detection Club member. Now, I have a book right here of Lord Peter Wimsey short stories, and there's multiple Agatha Christie short story books. There's also, I think I have a Sherlock Holmes, where a bunch of people were writing and using Sherlock Holmes characters, and I believe they're short stories. Father Knox wrote one of those. Apparently he was a big Sherlock Holmes guy. Let's see. I did that one. I did the short story. Okay. Read a fictional non-mystery work by a Detection Club member. So that would be read a fictional or non-fictional work by a Detection Club member. So, for example, Antonia Fraser wrote history books. Anyone who's involved with Historathon would know this. Agatha Christie wrote non-mysteries. I guess it could be characterized as romances under the name of Mary Westmacott. So there are, and of course, there was the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh. Let me find his name, because it escapes me at this moment. He was in the 1930, he was one of the founding members. Let's see. A.A. Milne. So I believe he wrote short stories for the Detection Club as well, in detective works, as well as writing Winnie the Pooh. So you could conceivably read a Winnie the Pooh book by A.A. Milne and have it count for the Detection Club. So there is that. You can then, number 9, read a Detection Club collab book. So that includes books like, there's, is it 7 Against the Yards, 6 Against the Yards, something like that. And The Floating Admiral, I believe, is the first one that they did together. And that's basically where you have a bunch of them like for The Floating Admiral, they took turns. If you've ever done one of those stories, like, or on a forum where someone will start the story and then someone else will pick up and it just kind of builds off of that, they did that. I want to say Father Knox had the job of trying to make it all cohesive, and apparently some of the people went off script and just like did their own thing and kind of drove Father Knox crazy, as I recall. Number 10, read something written by a Detection Club adjacent mystery author. So these are authors that were invited or considered but did not join. So some people might really get some enjoyment out of this list of people, because that'll include Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Josephine Tay. I saw someone within the past couple months make a video on Josephine Tay. Georgette Heyer. Oh gosh, I wish I'll have to tag you. I know of one of the guys that I watch. He particularly likes Georgette Heyer romances. So I'm going to have to remember to tag you. Then C.H.B. Kitchin, who I don't know, Margaret Erskine, Nigel Morland, Nancy Spain, Maurice Proctor, Andrew Garve. Now, I have created a story graph challenge with all Detection Club members so you can find their names. If I haven't created one for this detection club readathon, I will, and it will also include the names of the adjacent authors. And if I find that I forgot anyone, I will add them on later. Now, I did also make a partial list for people of members of detection clubs who wrote in other genres, and I will try to remember to insert it in this video. This book is not an exhaustive list. There's simply too many members, and too many of them wrote in too many different genres. But like, for example, Father Ronald Knox wrote mystery, religion, science fiction, action adventure, and his sci-fi and action adventures have satirical elements as well. His sci-fi novel, Memories of the Future, is available on Project Gutenberg. Then Henry Christopher Bailey wrote historical fiction, mainstream novels, whatever that means. His historical fiction, The Highwayman, is available on Project Gutenberg. Edmund Clairvaux Bentley wrote poetry, biography. He also had a whimsical and educational collection of poetical biographical sketches he wrote with G.K. Chesterton. Ran out of time with my alarm. Anyway, he also wrote a collection of poetical biographical sketches with G.K. Chesterton, who is another member of the Detection Club. He actually was the president for a while, so guess who also that would include? Father Brown, by the way. Where am I? The two of them, their biography for beginners is available on Project Gutenberg. Now, talking about G.K. Chesterton. He was a literary and social critic, so essays. He was a historian, a playwright, a novelist, a Catholic Christian theologian and apologist, debater, and mystery writer. So he wrote around 80 books, several hundred poems, 200 short stories, 4,000 essays, and a few plays. So you could really go to town when it comes to G.K. Chesterton. Let's put it this way. When I tried to see what was available of his on Project Gutenberg has a file available for free of all the books that they have, of all the works that they have available of his, simply because they knew that people would be looking and that there were so many that they wanted people to be able to find what they were looking for. So you can find quite a bit of G.K. Chesterton on Project Gutenberg. Agatha Christie, like I mentioned, romantic novels under the name of Mary Westmacott, nonfiction works, so her autobiography and the memoir, Come Tell Me How You Live, stage plays such as Akhenaten, and poetry. George Douglas Howard Cole wrote several economic and historical works, including biographies of William Cobbett and Robert Owen. Margaret Cole wrote biographies and political commentary. The Manning Coles, the pseudonym of Cyril Henry Coles and Adelaide Frances Oak Manning, wrote spy thrillers and humorous novels. J.J. Cunnington, pseudonym for Alfred Walter Stewart, wrote scientific works, particularly related to chemistry. So that might be of interest to someone like Prometheus, who might want. Now, of course, the works are going to be they're going to be out of date, I'm sure, because it's been such a long time. Then there is Clemence Dane, pseudonym of Winifred Ashton, literary fiction, stage plays, historical fiction. She also has several works on Project Gutenberg. Her novel, Regiment of Women, has been read, let's see. Okay, so her novel, Regiment of Women, was a big deal at the time, it looks like. And I just started writing Edgar Alfred Jepson, who had written under the pseudonym of R. Edison Page, and then I ran out of time and energy. So that's just a small list. If you go through the list of Detection Club members, which I will end up providing, like I said, in the story graph challenge, I'll also try to remember to put them into the bottom of the video. There's so many, I'll probably have to link a document in or something because there's a lot of members. So if you look at any of the names that you're interested in, you should be able to find someone on Project Gutenberg, and B, find a work that's not a mystery if mysteries aren't your thing. Now, I do need to be getting going because my alarm went off. I have to go and live stream Liturgy of the Hours. Hope that you found that video to be interesting, that you will be interested in joining us for Cozy in... I think I called it Cozy with the Detection Club, because there's something about reading a good, cozy mystery in the traditional sense of the word. It's something cozy about reading something like that as the weather gets cooler. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me. You have a blessed day, and I need to run. Bye.